Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to be your speaker today, to share with you the contemplation and focus that is in my being at this current moment on my journey. May it bless and inspire you and perhaps trigger points of contemplation for you. Before I start, allow me to just acknowledge that this morning was the first time as I was scrolling through Facebook. It was about 4 messages from friends on my personal list that had experienced loss because of COVID. And it was very real to me how close and real COVID is. And please allow me to just spend a moment of silence for all those infected and affected with this disease and with the pain, loss and grief when someone is lost. May God give us the strength and grace to understand, to let go, to grieve, and to find that resilience within us. May God's love and light be with all those, be with all of us, because we are all infected and affected in some way. Let us leave a few moments now. Thank you. This morning my focus is on these words: there is growth in lockdown. My talk today is inspired by this picture which we are posting with my talk. When lockdown was first announced, the process that followed holistically was quite a journey. The disbelief and shock, the anger, the disappointment, feeling out of control, wanting to blame the government, the elite, China, America, you name it, we wanted to blame it. We still want to. Then came the bargaining techniques, and the creativeness of people that emerged was inspirational. The rebels amongst us challenged. Folk explored ways out, different theories and conspiracies. Some remembered the choice is in attitude. Then came the questioning life, questioning God, questioning self. A real part of the journey was and is depression, the separation, the loneliness and aloneness, no work or shops to distract you, nowhere to hide, facing and feeling, exploring all the feelings within. Feelings of fear, sadness, loss, isolation, anger, bitterness. Yet also feelings of peace and rest, opportunity, relieved, overwhelmed, feeling controlled, feeling helpless, wanting to give up, feeling useless, feeling a failure and stuck, to mention but a few. Yet when we go beyond, and we go beyond the annoyance of the losses of lockdown, and we allow ourselves to contemplate the lessons of lockdown, it's amazing what is discovered and what has emerged. And I do know that many people have already spoken about that, and people are still sharing their insights about it. But this picture that I am talking about, this rusted old lock with green growth coming out of it, it inspired me during lockdown. For it reminded me of the potentials available in trying times when we face adversity, if we choose to see those potentials. It is true, life is a school, and we get tested, not as punishment, but rather to assess if we got the lesson. For some of us, conveniently stay in denial or anger and never get the lesson. And thus we have to repeat the test over and over again, resulting in us feeling very sorry for ourselves and bitter. So my question is, like in school, when the teacher discusses a certain lesson with us, and then we are told tomorrow you'll be writing a test on this, and we ignore that and we fail it, and the teacher says, okay, you'll be repeating this test again the day after and the day after. We don't get the lesson because we are engaging the emotion so much of how unfair and she's a mean teacher, but we're not getting the lesson. And we sometimes get caught in the feelings of experiences rather than exploring the lessons. It is not punishment that we get tested. So how can we find the lesson or gift in adversity? It is said, you either get better or you stay bitter. The choice is yours. Social media is loaded with insights of people sharing their lessons learned during lockdown, as I'm sure you have and can list a few yourself. It has been very inspiring indeed. And this has pushed me into asking what lessons I have learned and what helped me. When I teach communication, counseling and life skills, one of my favorite skills to teach is the skill of questioning. For the moment that we ask a question, it opens up the possibilities available. And we can see things we normally would not have. I like to use the analogy that questioning can be likened unto a flashlight. So imagine with me for a while that you are on an adventure walk in a beautiful forest and you come across a cave. At first, you will observe. You will observe the surrounding objects, what's around it, what it looks like inside, what is on top of it, how deep it is. And then you become still, and then you will listen. Can you hear any sounds coming from within this cave? Then you will reflect on what you have heard. And then you will risk and take a few steps within this cave. And then you will start to feel the cave and you'll acknowledge what you felt. Oh, it's beautiful and peaceful. Or maybe it's scary, dark and dangerous. Or maybe it's inviting and safe. But I bet you will not go any further into the cave unless you have a flashlight. What does a flashlight provide you? It provides you the ability to see, to explore, to ask and see. What is that? How deep is this cave? What's that in the corner? What sounds came from there? How does it make me feel? The flashlight can guide me as to what direction I can move, creating awareness of my surroundings and my choices. It highlights whether there's a big hole in front of my feet or whether there's another aisle down the cave. The process of communication I've already mentioned if you've listened. And those are observing, listening, reflecting, feeling with, which is empathy, acknowledging the feeling, and then questioning, which is exploring and creating awareness of the possibilities available. And that is exactly what communication does. Clear, open communication. If we follow those, you can listen to someone's story and they can tell you the content and the feelings, and you will go round and round and over the story for a long time. But if we do not start asking questions, we won't go deeper into what is this about? How does this make you feel? What can you learn from this? So perhaps we should ask, how can questioning help us to grow through adversity? After we have experienced the natural process of loss, which is normal, the shock, the disbelief, the anger, the bargaining and the depression, there comes a time for us to become still, to contemplate and to use questioning skillfully. Not asking closed-ended questions where we can only answer yes or no, but rather asking open-ended questions which help us to explore and stretch the limited perceptions and attitudes of our mind. The little seed that found itself inside this rusted lock, it may have been shocked, isolated, lost, angry, even thought maybe that it's normal, felt alone, and yet the moment it explored by asking, how else can I grow from this place? What else is possible? What other potentials are there? How else could I be experiencing this? That is when the seed had the opportunity to find its strength and move towards the possibilities. Who could have thought that a seed could sprout from such a dark and rusted environment and yet find its way out? And we have all seen pictures in nature where a tree starts growing in the middle of a tar road, or out of a massive rock this tree will sprout and grow, and its roots will be outside of the earth, finding that light. Those questions immediately invite exploration without judgment, and it allows us to dream of new possibilities. But we have to risk feeling the uncomfortability of the unknown in those questions. So thus, after the initial process of lockdown, we can stop and start asking ourselves some of these questions. The aim is not to find the answers immediately, but yet rather just to allow us to contemplate and become aware that there are potentials and possibilities available. And so, when you are ready to, I want you to just ask yourself these questions. What can I learn from this experience? Just keep on asking that question. Don't worry about having an answer. Just ask it and see how automatically, by repeating those questions, it starts stretching the limiting walls of perceptions and attitudes in your mind. How else could I be perceiving what is happening to me? How else could I be perceiving what is happening to me? What else is possible? What areas can I grow? What choices do I have? How can I grow from this physically? How can I grow from this mentally? How can I grow from this emotionally? How could I grow from this spiritually? What stops us from growing in adversity? What keeps us stuck? Can you get a sense of how questioning starts opening up a new way? Once we have done this, and we've allowed the truth to reveal itself, because the answers are never inside the limited box. The answers are always outside in the unknown. The answers are always outside of our limitations. And we can stretch ourselves to find the truth there. And then we can tap in and find that resilience within us, deep in a place beyond our emotions, within this experience to grow despite the circumstances. We can move out of a limiting belief and access our spiritual sense too. Shifting our past mindset is the most difficult task, as we must give up comfort zones, habits, excuses, past attitudes, and defense mechanisms. You will find those voices in your head saying, "Oh yes, but, oh no, I can't now." Yet, that little seed in that rusted lock, it could have felt stuck, trapped, bitter, have given up and died. Yet it allowed itself to find a way to grow out of the lock and to still be, to still fulfill its purpose. Conquering limiting thinking is the first step to growth. That is the lesson. What happened to us and why is not always what it is about. It's about how we respond to it. And, excuse me, like that beautiful word, responsibility. When we find the ability to respond, that is when we find growth and movement. Questioning is a strategy to move beyond the adversity and to find the gift or the lesson in the event. Adversity is an amazing, amazing thing. And I know some of us hate it. We try and avoid it, come what may. And adversity comes in different forms. Adversity can be circumstances outside of our control, outside of us. Adversity can be attitudes. Adversity can be what has been done to us, past pain. But the journey of self redefined is what can emerge if we face adversity. And do not be fooled. There will always be fear in adversity. And that fear is very important because adversity needs fear. It needs fear. And if you go back in history and you look at war heroes, people who have found their greatness, it is because they used that fear as a ladder to face the adversity and to go beyond their fear. It does not mean because they're a hero that they never experienced fear. No, but they didn't let fear control them and stop them. They used fear to find the truth of who they really are. We have to break this artificial world. We have been taught to be polite. We have been taught to put sugar on shit, excuse my language. We have been taught to always be positive. We have been taught, who is always like that? Show me one person who is always like that. It is not bad to have a negative day. It's not bad to feel despondent. Yes, if we get stuck there and stay there, we know what reality that creates. But in the middle of it, if we face it, that is where we get out of it and we grow and we become greater. We have to stop hiding and pretending. We have to face our neediness, our emptiness. We have to say what we should, even if it creates waves. At least those are real waves. But we have forgotten to express ourselves. We have forgotten to communicate open and clearly and question each other. Adversity brings change. Brings change in our relationship. It brings change in our circumstances. It puts an end to abuse. It puts an end to stuckness and neediness and greediness. And that change is loving yourself. That is what true loving of self is. Become a real individual. Accept and love yourself for who you are and let God see you. But many of us have hidden ourselves so much. We are playing these games and roles of politeness and positiveness, and which is not always true. It is false and it is pretense. That we stop God from seeing us. All we show God is this pretense and false mask and veneer. Let God see you. Adversity takes the fear and makes known the unknown. All greatness in the past was defined by someone who went beyond their fear. Adversity allows us to reclaim our inner power, to stand up. Yes, I know. Excuse me. It is so much easier to give someone a bad look or to criticize them, to walk away and ignore it and go into denial. But all we have is pretense, and we hide all those unspoken feelings and emotions. And underneath those emotions are lessons, are gifts. I always say it's like your feelings is like a room filled with beautiful gifts. And we run and we start opening and then we run away. We just touch the gift wrap, but we don't unwrap the gift to find what gift is inside that emotion. We have to learn to conquer and go beyond it. Within any adversity, there is always the potential to grow. And we gain so much awareness, self-awareness, awareness of ourselves and everything around us, which is the gift. When a teacher calls us and tells us, tomorrow you will do a test, remember that is not punishment, yet rather a way for the teacher to measure if we got the lesson. Lessons are opportunities to grow, to expand, to let go of past feelings and experiences, and to move into the unknown possibilities of a future with wisdom from our past. Let go of the feelings and the past. Let go of the pain. Go into the unknown. Sometimes our pain becomes so comfortable and familiar that we define ourselves by our past and we don't discover who we are. We don't discover the greatness of our being. So my question is, what has lockdown gifted you? What awareness of yourself is available? Have you gained anything because of lockdown? How many of the lessons that you have been avoiding all your life because of being stuck, being denial, of pretending, because of anger or stubbornness, how many lessons have you had to repeat in your life? Because life wants us to grow. Our aim here is to expand ourselves, is to expand in consciousness. How do we do that if we do not own the lesson? How do we do that if we do not want to change what we have defined ourselves, what circumstances has made us to believe of ourselves? We have to risk and use the fear to go into adversity and to conquer our past, to conquer the attitudes and perceptions that keep us stuck in a consciousness world where we believe we have no choice, where we are going to be controlled. We are living in an amazing time right now. There is a lot happening around us. There's a lot of social consciousness, and social consciousness is grouping people together like a lot of sheep, leading us to fall over the cliff. Don't be afraid to stand out. Focus and know who you are. Know who you are as an individual. You are not a sheep. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to stand out. Stand out. Get to know yourself. Get to know your light. Get to know your potential and your greatness. Let go of the labels and the masks that we have placed upon ourselves and upon each other. We are more than that. Don't be afraid to cause a wave. Don't be afraid to rediscover and redefine who you are. Your soul came here to be at this time because there's an opportunity for us to expand in consciousness. But we cannot be accepted into a greater place while we are hanging on to past that keeps us in modes of operation that is victim or perpetrating or rescuing. Those are not preservable qualities. We have to risk moving beyond the familiar. And I know that in itself is scary. But we have each other, we have the truth, we have so many lessons that have been shared from this platform, inspiration. Now is the time to take that philosophy and to put it into practice in your own life. Become real. Love yourself into this new consciousness. Give yourself the opportunity to be ready and prepared to move into a brave new world where there is no room for war and greed, where there is peace and love and truth and openness and integrity, where we let go of the past. Our past has served us. It has brought us to this point, but now we have to move beyond it. Thank you for listening. May God give us the strength to go within and to find that power and strength and resilience. Let us trust the unknown God and greatness within us. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Contemplate. This is the beginning of a year. Ask yourself, what difference can I make? How can I grow from this? I love you. I see you, I know you. Thank you for being in my reality. Thank you for allowing me to be in your reality. Let us take this opportunity. This is what it's all been about. It's this moment now. Be safe. Be focused. Be aware of the chaos, but don't engage it. Remember, you have a choice. Create your own reality. Don't become a sheep. You have choice. You have free will. That is your greatest power. Use it. God bless. Oh, P.S. Maybe that's why meditation is so important. Because meditation is a focused lockdown. It's where we discard all outside thoughts and matters. We go within the temple of our being. We become still. We become focused. And we awaken as spirit. We cannot be distracted by sounds and noises and smells. We have to stay focused and be in this temple. Perhaps we need to have those lockdowns, those personal lockdowns, where we go within and we discover the cave. We use our questioning, we use our exploring to discover our greatness. Bless you.